So this is something very different that I've been meaning to do for a while. Not this specifically, but just tarot readings in general. And considering that I've been loosely following the happenings of the Dream SMP scenarios, with a bunch of information coming out as we speak about it, recollections of past experiences, once hidden, now coming to light about this, I figured why not do a tarot reading about this and see what the spirits have to say, because I have nothing better to do right now, and I'm currently waiting for something to get done. So, with that out of the way, let's ask the cards a few questions in regards to the DSMP shtick. Okay. Can you give us some insight about the creation of Dream SMP? Let's start with the beginning. Let's start at the very beginning. Let's peer into Dream's mind. Why did Dream create the Dream SMP? Why did he create the SMP? Why did he create the SMP? Okay. Okay. Starting off with the two cards that stuck out to me the most, we have the Hermit and the Five of Pentacles. I feel like this clearly references, like, the pandemic that's been going around, where we're kind of at a point of our lives where we're kind of isolated. Where we were isolated and also kind of left out to fend for ourselves. This was definitely a motivator to create this SMP that he had in mind. He also had a lot of ambitions and ideas for it, most of which never ultimately came to fruition, as shown with the Seven of Ghosts, or the Seven of Cups, if you will. So he had a lot of ideas for this that ultimately never came to fruition. He wanted a fresh new start, because, the manhunt thing was, it was doing him well, but not well enough. So he wanted to try something new. He wanted to, expand upon his boundaries a little bit. But ultimately, this became a huge thing of sunk costs, as shown with the 10 of Imps or the 10 of Wands. So this became a situation where there were too many cooks in the kitchen, so to speak, and ultimately, sunk cost fallacy, King of Pentacles in reverse, or King of Pumpkins in reverse. Just a lot of effort and possibly finances went into this project that ultimately became a waste, considering what has become of a couple of members. So, let's ask the cards another question. What happened to the members within Dream SMP? Generally speaking, not really referring to anyone in particular, just as a collective of former members. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. You motherfucker. Okay, these two cards popped out. Fucking conflicts, interpersonal conflicts and disagreements. 5 of Wands. Everybody was basically beating each other over the head with their goddamn sticks, be it metaphorically or in the game of Minecraft. But there was a lot of interpersonal conflicts that may have been jump-started with drastic changes. This card, I feel, specifically references the death of Technoblade, because yes, while the death card represents inevitable changes and transitions through life, in certain contexts, this can also refer to the actual death of someone. So, there was interpersonal conflicts that were kind of exacerbated with the death of Technoblade. So yeah, we have those two cards in mind. So we have interpersonal conflicts, drastic, inevitable changes, and, you know, the death of a key member within Dream SMP. Do you think you could elaborate more on those cards? Can you elaborate on the Five of Wands? Elaborate on the Five of Wands. Okay, we have a card jumping out. Oh, okay. Okay, let me look at my notes that I wrote for this particular thing. This came from a state of being overwhelmed and being just let loose without really any idea about what they were getting themselves into. I feel like this is a light brush upon TommyInnit because I'm getting energies that he was excited for this, but didn't necessarily know what he was associating himself with. Something about the mask that Dream wore. Something about TommyInnit not looking past the mask at the age that he was during this time. A lot of people did not know what they were getting themselves involved with. And with the death of Technoblade, things just kind of started falling apart. Could you elaborate on the death card, please? Could you elaborate on the death card, please? Death card, death card, death card, death card, death card. Six of Ghosts in reverse. A loss of innocence. Heavy emphasis on the loss of innocence because there were a lot of people who were misled, shall we say, by the charming personalities of people they once looked up to or people that they once, respected. And I feel like a lot of them are kind of stuck in that era of their life. They're stuck on the past. They're lingering on it. They want that former glory. And we can see this with, people like GeorgeNotFound and Wilbursoot especially. I feel like this is a brush upon Wilbursoot, how he's so stuck in the past and he wants his former glory again, but his reputation is pretty much in shambles at this point. I don't even need to say anything, but for those who are listening in, the Tower came out. So many things and so many working parts were ultimately what led to the downfall of Dream SMP. So many bricks that were cracked, so many support structures that were decimated and destroyed, either by the old age of the building or by malicious attitudes, actively seeking the destruction of, everything. Could you elaborate on the tower, on the tower, on the tower? Ooh, Eight of Swords in reverse. Let me check my notes on this one because the message is on the tip of my tongue, but I can't necessarily verbalize it. A lot of people have kind of felt indebted to this SMP. Again, going in on the whole sunk cost thing, they basically chose to run it into the ground, basically, with just, we're going to put an end to this once and for all, even if it ultimately destroys the project. So, yeah. And those seem to be the relevant cards for what happened to SMP, basically. It's a mix of inner conflicts. It's a mix of misguided ambitions. It's a mix of a lot of things that ultimately led to the cataclysmic interpersonal end of Dream SMP. So now we got to the reasoning why. We looked at the past, we looked at the present, now let's look into the future. What is the future of the collective of Dream SMP? What is the future of the collective of Dream SMP? What is the collective future? What is the collective future of collective future? Okay. Okay, so we have... This gives me so much TommyInnit energy. I feel like this represents TommyInnit. Page of Wands, Page of Imps. And I feel like this makes a lot of sense for him because he's kind of a creative visionary. He's got a lot of potential with him. Something about having the torch be passed down onto him from a master that he didn't like in the first place. But he's been given the torch of YouTube fame, so he's taken a very creative decision to kind of satirize it almost. To kind of make satirical commentary about how YouTube fame can kind of distort the soul a little bit and make you feel hollow and numb on the inside. So you start getting yourself into controversies just to feel something. TommyInnit, on the other hand, his torch hasn't burnt out like the others. His is still on fire, and he's going to be like, you know what? I'm going to have fun with this while I still have it. And if I get into any notable controversies, I'll work myself through with it. Because he's got his head on his shoulders. As shown with the High Priestess. He's got his head on his shoulders. He knows what he wants, and he's going to take initiative to make his career how he sees fit. He knows what he wants, basically. So there's on the end of like TommyInnit and a couple of other people who were just kind of involved but didn't really do too much within it. This can also be applied to those people who weren't really seen as relevant during the heydays of the SMP, but TommyInnit, he's kind of taking in his creative visionaries, and he's got his head on his shoulders, because he's definitely been through the ringer a couple of times. So, what else in particular for the collective of DSMP? Let's look at Wilbursoot. Let's see what's in it for him. Justice in reverse. A very strong lack of accountability is being held on his end. He does not want to take accountability for the things that he has done because he cares more about his reputation than, being seen as a decent person that is safe to interact with. He also is just kind of on a fresh new start, basically. After the SMP runs out, he's going to have to pick something new for his career if he decides to have a career in the first place. I mean, considering how trashed his reputation is, I don't think we'll be hearing much of Wilbursoot anytime soon. So we have those two cards for Wilbursoot. What about JSchlatt? What's in it for Schlatt? I wonder. What's in it for Schlatt? What's in it for Schlatt? What's in it for Schlatt? Okay, we have a couple of cards here coming out. Nine of Ghosts. Sitting all up on his, the things that he has earned himself. He's pretty content with where he is right now. He's just kind of for all intents and purposes, this card basically states that right now he's just gonna be chilling and just kind of doing what he wants right now. He's in a pretty comfortable place right now, as shown with the 10 of Pumpkins, or Pentacles. The 10 of Pentacles indicates that, you know, he's definitely earned his place, so to speak. So he's just gonna be doing his own thing. And these two other cards, though, seem very significant. Five of Bats and the Ace of Ghosts. Five of Bats and the Ace of Ghosts. I don't know why that seems relevant to, like, a person, but I think this could be about Tubbo. He's definitely been caught in the crossfire of some controversies in the past, but ultimately he has his cup of water, so he's gonna drink it too. Something about having his cake and eating it too, you know. He definitely was one of the people who lost in the SMP, but, you know, he's going to take up some new creative endeavors. Again, most people within the Dream SMP... Actually, no. These two cards are not just about Tubbo. These are about Tubbo and Quackity. This is definitely more inclined towards Quackity, now that I think about it, because, yeah, he definitely lost in the SMP, so he created a new SMP, so he's just kind of... He definitely also had other creative endeavors outside of DSMP. I think he was kind of tangentially related to Illuminati, although I could be confusing him with another person. But he was involved in the Reddit sphere for, you know, quite some time. Three of Bats, Three of Swords. Who is this card for? Who is this card for? Who is this card for? Can the cards answer what this card is for? Okay, we have 3 cards jumping out. Some members of the SMP are kind of more infamous for their relationship troubles. As shown with the Lovers in Reverse, you know, poor decisions and disharmony, and the Three of Bats, heartbreak. So, yeah, that seems to be, you know, a bit relevant to that. Basically what the cards here are telling me is that some people are lucky enough to, you know, move on and do their own thing. Some people are, you know, stuck in the past with only controversies left to their name. But let's look at the big man himself, the one who started it all. What do the cards have to say about Dream himself? What do the cards have to say about Dream? What do the cards have to say about Dream? What do the cards have to say about Dream? What do the cards have to say about Dream? Okay. The notes. We've already known this, but Dream has kind of been a slimy person overall, and it's just only now that people are being more public about his sliminess, because the Seven of Swords is all about betrayal, deception, getting away with something, being slimy, and just kind of not pleasant to be around. And I know, I think Jack Manifold, that's Tommy's name. Jack Manifold said, I don't fucking like the guy. So more people are going to be like, yeah, I don't I didn't like Dream before, and I don't like him now, or I used to like Dream, but then some things happened, and then I stopped liking him. So more and more information is him coming out right now. More information about Dream is coming out, and, okay. Knight of Imps in reverse. When it came to Dream SMP, a lot of things didn't go exactly as planned, and he did, unfortunately, take out some of his frustrations on his fellow peers, TommyInnit especially. I'm getting the feeling that TommyInnit was kind of treated like a punching bag for Dream almost, and yet TommyInnit was still somehow able to turn the other cheek, which is commendable. Going back to the Eight of Swords in reverse again. Oh my god. I have nothing but pity for this man. Actually, no, it's upright. He feels kind of entrapped with the things that he got himself involved with. Nothing was as good as it seemed to be to him now. And so he's just kind of terrified of losing relevancy. Page of Cups in reverse. Lack of creative ideas. Just kind of, you know, just not being emotionally mature. Not only is this about, like, creativity from the heart, not necessarily the mind, and also a card that represents me, it also represents emotional maturity. The fact that it's reversed shows that Dream is not really an emotionally mature person. Considering his run-in with the voice actor of Gumball, listen, as a gay trans man, I can wholeheartedly tell you that Dream did deserve to be called the F-slur. You know, give him a little taste of his own medicine, as it were. See how he feels being put in the spotlight. Not the spotlight he wanted to. Okay, a card just jumped out. Five of Cups. I think Dream kind of regrets Dream SMP as a whole because of how many things just did not go his way. He regrets some of the connections that he's made. I get the feeling that he just fully regrets SMP as a whole. If he just kind of stuck doing his little manhunt things, I don't think none of this would have happened, but one moment, one decision, cascaded to this moment. Everything he worked so tirelessly on, thinking that it was going to be the next big thing, just became bupkis. Total failure. So now we have our 5 spread cards. Let's elaborate on each of them. Can you elaborate on the 7 of bats? Can you elaborate on the 7 of bats? 7 of bats, 7 of bats, 7 of bats, 7 of bats. God damn. God damn, okay. Strength in reverse. That feels relevant to the 5 of Ghosts, because it's like his confidence has been shot. He doesn't have the energy anymore. This whole project just drained him completely. And I guess we're going backwards with this. Okay. Wheel of Fortune in reverse. Yeah, he's been having a shit streak of luck, you know. A real shit streak of luck. Just, this definitely ties into him, like, associating with people that turned out to be, you know, not fun. Not fun at all. Not fun in the slightest. Can you elaborate on the 8 of bats? 8 of bats. 8 of bats. Can you elaborate on the 8 of bats? Oh-de-doo-da-day. 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 King of bats in reverse. Doo-da. Doo-da. Jeez. Okay. Something about abuse of power. Misuse of power, manipulation, just... He thought he was the hot shit when he wasn't even the fart. I don't know why that just got channeled into me, but, like, he was not a good leader in retrospect. Just not a good leader at all. And I think that kind of explains why people like Wilbursoot and a couple of other people, I think one of them recently got outed as a groomer during the heyday. I can't exactly remember who, though, but there was definitely someone who was, like, outed as a groomer. So, yeah, the 8 of Swords, because of his abuse of power, and because of his manipulation, he ultimately set a trap for himself, and he fucking stepped in it. Because he sees himself as the victim. Well, technically he is, but he is the victim of his own he is the victim of the consequences of his actions, to put it that way. He's the victim of the consequences. King of Imps in reverse. Oh boy. Oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. And there it is again, the Knight of Imps. The 9 of Imps. The number 9 seems to be very relevant, because I feel like most of the people focused on 9 members of the SMP. The rest were kind of just discarded to the wayside. So... yeah. I feel like this represents the entire SMP, how everyone was just kind of thrown in without really any idea about what they were getting themselves into. And I feel like Dream is kind of responsible for this. This is his responsibility, as shown with the King of Imps in reverse. He was impulsive, and he gave everybody a bunch of high expectations. Or not the... I don't know. The King of Imps got channeled into my mind. It was the Knight of Imps, but the King of Imps also seems very relevant too, now that I think about it. He was just ambitious, impulsive, a shit leader, and ultimately this led him to creating his own downfall. I feel like this also kind of briefly mentions his unmasking, so to speak. 7 of bats. Now we're back to the 7 of bats. 7 of bats. 7 of bats. Do, do, do. Okay, these 4 cards seem extremely relevant here. So, the Fool in reverse when it comes to Dream. So far, he's not going to get a fresh start. He's not going to clean his reputation in time. He's not going to be able to start anew because of the unnecessary heartbreak that he brought upon people. The people are recovering from it, yes, but the damage has already been done. And now he's kind of hoarding what he has to himself, because if he loses that, he'll have nothing going for him. So he's clinging on desperately to his ever so effamed title, and that led to his arrogance. The number one trait about Dream is his arrogance. Most people will probably remember Dream for his arrogance. So now we turn to the elements of the source. And I use these as a little spiritual send-off message. So what do the Oracle cards have to say about the Dream SMP members? What do they have to say for the collective of the SMP members? Center card, top card, bottom card. Purity, the hand that guts. Responsibility rests within yourself. I'm getting the little... Okay, so for those who have played Mouthwashing, you would know the little blips of text that just say, take responsibility over and over again. That was channeled to me. Some Dream SMP members may actually have to start taking responsibility for their actions a little bit. Ruin, it is the fall that injures you. A warning to the members who have not changed for the better. Inevitability, the end isn't told yet. What is coming about the Dream SMP, things that members have done behind the scenes now coming to light, this is just the beginning. This is just the beginning of what is to come. So hold on to whatever reputations you have left, because they are not going to last. And perspective. Look at things through a different door. It's time we actually start listening to people about the stories that they have said, the stories that are now coming into light. We should listen to those people, because I feel that during the age of ignorance, things coming to light will become jarring. You'll never realize that it was that person behind the atrocities until it smacks you in the face. I have learned this the hard way with Scruff Puppy. I used to be one of her biggest fans, and then she became something I no longer looked up to. So I guess that's my reading for the Dream SMP. I don't know, you're more than welcome to send it to the members if you're crazy enough to do so. I'd like to see what they think, but otherwise, that is just how I read the cards, so I don't know. Let me know if you want to do more readings about certain people, I guess. And if you want a personal reading, I don't know. I'm not ready for that yet, but I'll let you know. But anyway, goodbye, I guess.